Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Hold That Thought. I'm your host, Sonia, and today we're diving into a topic that is pivotal for our personal and professional lives, building strong, lasting connections. With me today is someone who has a wealth of experience in this area, Paul Smith. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Sonia. It's great to be here. I'm thrilled to have the chance to talk about something so crucial, not just for our mental health, but for our overall well-being.
Indeed, connections are what give our lives depth and meaning. In our last episode, we explored the power of positive thinking, and today, we're taking a closer look at how we relate to one another. Paul, with your background in hypnotherapy and coaching, how do you perceive the role of communication in building connections?
Well, communication is the bedrock of any relationship. Whether it's personal or professional, the ability to clearly and empathetically convey your thoughts and feelings is essential. I've always believed that when we communicate effectively, we lay the groundwork for trust and understanding, which are critical to maintaining strong connections.
Absolutely. I think communication is often misunderstood as merely exchanging words, but it's so much more about the emotional exchange. Do you have any examples from your work or life where effective communication made a significant difference?
Certainly. One instance that comes to mind is when I was working with a client who had a lot of unresolved issues in her marriage. They were simply not talking to each other in a meaningful way. Through coaching, we introduced simple communication strategies like active listening and using I statements. It allowed them to express themselves without defensiveness. Over time, these small shifts made a large impact, facilitating a much deeper connection between them.
That's so powerful. It's amazing how small, intentional changes can open channels that seem closed. Active listening, as you mentioned, is so crucial, yet often overlooked. Why do you think people struggle with it?
In today's fast-paced world, we're often too quick to jump to responses instead of truly listening. Most of us listen with the intent to reply, rather than to understand. It's also a skill that isn't taught as much as it should be. Developing active listening requires us to be present in the conversation and to show empathy. It challenges our impulse to solve problems instantly or to interject with our own stories.
That makes so much sense. It's easy to see how fostering this kind of communication can enhance relationships significantly. Now, in terms of building connections, trust is another cornerstone after communication. What's your take on how we can cultivate trust in our relationships?
Trust is indeed foundational. It's built through consistency, honesty, and openness. From a professional standpoint, I encourage people to be transparent with their intentions and to follow through on their commitments. Trust grows when people feel safe and respected, and this is best achieved through actions over time. A real-life example comes from our Support Me community, where we host events that emphasize open dialogue. Such settings allow individuals to feel heard and valued, which naturally leads to stronger trust.
Transparency in actions truly speak louder than words. A consistent, trustworthy behavior definitely encourages openness. Let's delve into the role of vulnerability. Many people fear it, and yet it's so essential for connection. How do you see vulnerability facilitating strong relationships?
It's a common misconception that vulnerability is a weakness. In reality, it is a profound strength that cultivates deeper connections. When we're vulnerable, we allow others to see our authentic selves, which invites them to do the same. This mutual openness fosters empathy and understanding. I've seen, for instance, how expressing genuine emotions in team settings can lead to more cohesive work environments. People feel more connected and motivated because they sense a shared humanity.
Right. There's a certain magic in being real and relatable. It brings people closer, but it can also be challenging. How do you suggest someone begins to embrace vulnerability, especially if they've been guarded for so long?
Beginning this journey starts with small steps. It's about selectively choosing to share more of yourself. You don't have to open up about everything at once. Start in a safe environment with someone you trust. Share a small worry or a story that you wouldn't normally share. You might find that people are much more understanding and supportive than you expect, which encourages you to open up more frequently.
That's so important, creating a safe space to be oneself. Paul, let's talk about conflicts. They're inevitable in any relationship. What's your approach to handling conflicts in a way that actually strengthens bonds rather than breaking them?
Conflicts are indeed part of life, but they don't have to be destructive. I often recommend looking at conflicts as opportunities for growth. It's important to address them openly, without letting emotions escalate the situation. One effective strategy is grounded in active listening, as we mentioned earlier, but also in seeking to understand the underlying needs and interests of the other person. This helps transform adversities into problem-solving discussions.
That's a wonderful perspective, seeing conflicts as opportunities rather than threats. It also aligns with building resilience, which is something we touch on frequently here. Is there a common pitfall people fall into when dealing with conflicts?
Definitely. One major pitfall is taking a defensive stance. When we're defensive, our primary goal becomes to protect ourselves rather than to resolve the issue. It's crucial to shift from a mindset of proving a point to collaboratively finding a solution. Another common mistake is avoiding the conflict altogether. Pretending the conflict doesn't exist doesn't resolve it, it merely postpones the inevitable and often exacerbates the issue.
Avoidance is a big one. It can definitely snowball into bigger issues. Let's talk about empathy, which we've touched on a bit. How does empathy transform the dynamic in relationships? And how can someone cultivate it if it doesn't come naturally to them?
Empathy transforms relationships by allowing us to truly see and connect with the other person's experiences. It creates a sense of validation and acknowledgement that strengthens the bond. For those who find empathy challenging, I suggest starting by observing and listening more intentionally. Engage with people's stories without the need to comment immediately. Practice putting yourself in their shoes during conversations. This can gradually build your capacity for empathy.
That is insightful. The art of observation really can enhance how we relate to others. Before we wrap up, I want to bring it back to self-awareness. It's often the starting point for many of the topics we've covered. How does being self-aware improve our ability to forge strong connections?
Self-awareness is the foundation of all effective interactions because it involves understanding our own emotions, triggers, and responses. When we're attuned to ourselves, we can better manage how we portray ourselves in relationships. This self-regulation allows us to be more present for others and receptive to feedback. It also helps us set boundaries where necessary, ensuring that our connections remain healthy.
Paul, it has been such a meaningful conversation today. Your insights on building strong, lasting connections have given us plenty of food for thought. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you, Sonia. It's been a pleasure exploring these essential topics with you, and I hope our listeners find it useful in their endeavors to build healthier relationships.
I'm sure they will. For everyone listening, remember that building meaningful connections takes effort and patience, but the rewards are incredibly enriching. Until next time, take care of yourselves and those around you. Goodbye.